I feel like the one thing about M2KC and the way they play this composition is they play to win. And what I mean by that is M2KC is not afraid to just hide till 80% dampening and then just go all in on burn. And we've seen them do it in the past. I think they can do it again, but I guess the Charlotte Phoenix, they want to try to get an edge in this matchup instead of playing the mirrors, as I feel like M2KC is probably a little bit more experienced in that regard. And maybe this is one of those things with Jamili playing Frost that they might actually be able to pull it a win. I mean, I can see it working, but I think it's risky.
They've got the full turtle all day strategy, demonic circle, demonic gateway. So they've got the Cloud9 strategy if they want to try and execute on this. It's not what we would say is Charlotte Phoenix's forte. I feel like typically a team that likes to try and look to close games out. So let's see if they've adapted their strategies, if they can handle a deep dampening defensive gameplay, because I think the composition is capable of it, although they're going to be facing a team that is also very comfortable with going into deep dampening as well. So Jamili Burn posted up in midfield, Jamili edging closer and closer to Brain at that pillar. Drake rolls back to Jamili to force him away, and Drake is playing protection for Brain, just attacking whoever pushes closer between Burn and Jamili. Now Jamili blinks back and Burn tries to push forward, so Drake switches to Burn. That way Brain doesn't have to overextend, and he's never exposed to crowd control. They're going in for a big hit of damage onto Burn here. Jamili tries to punish by blinking in, but doesn't find crowd control. Burn has to port back. Now Jamili was left behind. M2KC just constantly swapping back and forth. Korlik pops Avenging Wrath, trying to recover through this split pressure and swaps of M2KC. And M2KC just continue to hold strong in that defensive posture.
Yeah, and if I wants an analogy for this game, we are going to the deep end. We might even be drowning at some point here. Fatigue might kick in. We're heading
Get
to
your
the
scuba mask ready.
portion.
Fatigue.
Oh yeah, you got that. Yeah, thank you. When I was a kid, I thought it was called fatigue.
Yeah, well, that was not right. I'm just kidding.
Trilingual, so.
Yes. One thing I want to point out. Related to the game, they already get an ice block from Jamili. So Cerulean, he's actually put on 4 gushing. So he's playing gushing. Look at him. Cerulean just sitting back. Doesn't really need crowd control. He's just fireballing Jamili, combusting Jamili. Then he starts fireballing Burn. I think what he's literally trying to do is just do as much damage as he can. Like he's in a raid or something like that. Just put out as much pressure as possible. Really burning through Korlik's mana. Look at Korlik's mana already. 60%. Burn taking a little bit of damage. Jamili actually pushing in. He gets Dragon's Breath. Has to be careful. Charlotte Phoenix kind of realized this is not going their way. If Cerulean can just free cast fireballs, put gushing on everyone, Drake can kind of just bounce around and hit whoever they want. It seems like that plays into the favor of M2KC, and I think the Charlotte Phoenix, if they're going to play this composition, they have to try to go for crowd control and try to play to that early game advantage if they can.
I don't know if that works, though. I feel like the Frost Mage Destro with Port, it's already 2 ice blocks out of the way here. I mean, they're not even denting M2KC. M2KC are straight chilling in game number 1 right now. They're line-of-sighting Burn on the Dark Soul. They have a mana advantage. This strategy from M2KC looks really good. Going now after Burn, he's the closest caster. If he pulls back, they'll swap over to Jamili. I mean, M2KC need to find a way to penetrate the defense of M2KC at this point. They're just falling more and more behind. Perhaps it should have been Korlik trading cooldowns. Jamili finally getting in there, landing a Polymorph. Who are they going after? Cerulean. He temporals. He's at the pillar. Shouldn't die here. Gets Nether warded on a Poly and heals himself back to full. No pressure found there. Drake's fists flying at Jamili. Temporal trades. Big temporal there from Jamili. Korlik looking to try and recover. This whole team's stable. Jamili, I mean, he's got a tough choice. Maybe he needs to play aggressive and get crowd control to be able to win the game. He doesn't have 2 ice blocks, only 3 minutes and 45 seconds in. So if he tries to go for crowd control right now, the game could just end and they could lose. I mean, maybe they just turtle it out, wait 3 minutes for ice blocks, and that would be a better plan. But Drake's rolling in, paralyzes Korlik, going after Jamili. No ice blocks. Avenging Wrath pops. Big heals in from Korlik. Jamili trying to bait Drake across midfield. Brain saves Dispel for the hammer. Chaos Bolt's flying in from Burn. Drake ports back. It was a nice counter assault from Charlotte Phoenix. I like Jamili's positioning there, really pulling Drake into a unfavorable position. Drake's gonna have to be careful chasing targets like that again. No diffuse, no Fort Brute.
Yeah, we're gonna see another setup here, potentially initiated by Jamili. No, it's a Polymorph onto Cerulean. He gets knocked back into the clutches of Drake. And now Drake looking to potentially set up for the next Fist here. He's got his Touch of Karma. He's going to have his Diffuse Magic rotating back up. And the Windwalker, with that Windwalker mage composition, he's basically the bruiser of the comp. He's going to go in, use his defensives early on, and then try to build the pressure for his team, allow them to just sit back and throw out those fireballs. And Brain is actually still on a CC chain here. Drake could be in a little bit of trouble here. He ports to safety, not using Diffuse, not using Karma, not really using anything here. And once again, these trades are going in favor of M2KC. Brain's going to be out of CC. He's got his wings, should have no problems picking up his teammates. And now Burn is on the back foot. Vitality Conduit is rolling, and he's still taking a decent amount of damage, just trying to counter pressure with some Chaos Bolts. Burn going for a Fear into the Chaos Bolt here as well. Drake still taking a decent amount of damage, but Burn is the one losing the exchange here. When you have a Windwalker and a Fireman. Oh, nice blink counterspell by Serrano. That could just be the game. Dress connects, and that is going to be a slapper proccing, and that is going to be game number 1 in favor of Charlotte Phoenix. What an excellent play there by Serralium. Just kicking back, waiting, building up the pressure together with Drake, landing the blink counterspell on the heel, and then they just dump all of their damage with the dress, bust, and win.
I don't think I've seen Mage Lock get owned so hard in my entire life. Like, what? Like, that, they got completely owned. There was not any opportunities at all. Did they die before dampening too? It was pretty close, I think. Like, I've never seen Mage Lock get owned so hard.
And this is one of the things I'm saying. I feel like M2KC, they know exactly what to do against every single composition. And Charlotte Phoenix, they're not experienced in this matchup. This is what happens. They get absolutely bullied. And this game was about as one-sided as you can get. And that's why I think the Charlotte Phoenix are going to have to, I really feel like they're going to have to go for that Mirror Mesh. It's a beautiful blink counterspell by Serralium, and that's what happens when you're putting out so much pressure. Eventually, Corlic's going to not have his Avenging Wrath. He's going to have to try to get those casts out, and you can see it on the scoreboard just how much damage Drake and Serralium were doing. I mean, Serralium almost doubled the damage of Jamili in this match, so it is kind of the nature of the matchup, but also it's so much pressure that Corlic has to deal with.
Well done by M2KC, winning this first game of the series here against Charlotte Phoenix. Now Charlotte Phoenix will be choosing their map choice pretty soon here. What was the key difference, do we feel like, Zico, between this game that we just saw and the last series, Cloud9 versus Mystery Org? It was basically the same matchup except for the Holy Paladin on M2KC.
Well, yeah. So M2KC... Mystery Org were playing a full haste build on the mage, and they were basically trying to blink in, get setups, and try to win the game with a big setup and a big push. And every time they did that, Chanimal had excellent kiting and survived, and then they were able to turn around the pressure with the other team being out of position. But M2KC, they did exactly what we kind of said we wanted to see from Mystery Org, just sit back and spam Greater Pyroblast. But obviously he wasn't playing Greater Pyroblast, he was just playing Gushing instead and just sat back with those Gushings instead, and basically did the same thing the G-Pie mage would do, just with the Fireball spam. So a nice little talent strategy there, and gear strategy change. And they know if we push in on Mage Lock, we're not really going to win with CC. We're probably going to win with, big damage and then a random incap or a counterspell, and that's, I think, the least risky way to play the matchup.
All right, well, going into game number 2, Ven, I think you did touch on it. Now, do you think that you want him to mirror here for game number 2?
Well, I want them to mirror I've always wanted them to mirror, so, the results of this matchup kind of have me double down what I want to see, but Charlotte Phoenix, they're going to go for it again. They're going to play the Mage Lock Paladin. It didn't look as well coordinated as we did see in the last series with Cloud9, but it's kind of hard to be at that level. But Charlotte Phoenix, obviously a phenomenal team, and I've always said that about this team. I feel like with their roster, Corlic, Nick, Burn, Jamili, if they show up and they have good chemistry and they're all playing to their potential, they can beat any team. They've proven it. They're a phenomenal roster. But M2KC, they are so experienced with this composition. You cannot be bringing your B game. You really have to step it up. Otherwise, I think M2KC is going to be walking away with the series.
How's the hair, Zico? Did you get it fixed?
I don't know.
Saw you fixing it before the...
Gonna have to make sure it's looking square. later, and you can fair and square. Unlike this matchup, I don't know about the matchup, but unlike the first game at least.
All right. Well, what do you think about this, Super Tees? Do you think it's unwise for Charlotte Phoenix to continue to play Mage Lock here?
I mean, can they beat them in a mirror? I mean, if we're just measuring up like 1-to-1, right? Let's just do 1-to-1. How do we feel about Drake versus Nick? I feel like Drake is better at Windwalker. I mean, just based on experience and time spent in the comp. I guess the advantage you would have actually is that M2KC, how often do they actually do mirrors? I feel like they're one of the only Mage Lock Paladins on the ladder. So maybe they actually don't have a great amount of experience in mirror. Whereas Mage Lock, they fight that every day, probably like 10 times in an hour. They fight Mage Lock. So like I feel like you're actually more likely to win in a mirror just because maybe they don't have much experience in a mirror. You can kind of win with just intuition at that point. I would like to see Charlotte Phoenix change if they're unable to find a win on Astra Mains.
Right, well, we'll see if they can here. It's M2KC up 1-0 versus Charlotte Phoenix in game number 2.
All right, let's see if M2KC can dominate as hard as they did in the first game. Burn is playing that imp, so very little incentive here for M2KC to push in and try to get something going in terms of CC. Drake actually taking a big hit there. He's going to port away to safety right away. No cooldowns really expended so far. Jamili getting knocked there on his Ray of Frost, and now Burn is the target. Ceralium is in formation. Look at Korlik. He's line of sighting those blink counterspells, putting a pillar between him. So Ceralium, in order to land a counterspell in this position, he would have to use 2 shimmers, and 2 shimmers is going to give Korlik a little bit more time to react to the blink counterspell and potentially fake it. So much more riskier for Ceralium to go for that same game-winning play, but we'll see as the game evolves what kind of positioning these players are going to have. Another nice thing about the map, of course, is going to be that Korlik can just stay very, very far away and just basically play the way Cubsy played against the Mystery Org. Just be as far away as possible, just throw out heals, throw out some judges on the Windwalker if you can, and wait for your Mage Lock to do Mage Lock things.
Yeah, I mean, let's see if they can do Mage Lock things. Drake right now taking quite a bit of damage. Does seem like Charlotte Phoenix has made some adaptations in this match that is putting it a little bit more in their favor. Full polymorph now secured onto Brain. Hammer of Justice on Drake, but I get the feeling he's going to be able to survive. Fortifying Brew and Diffuse Magic. Drake is running all out maximum versatility as kind of expected. He just really wants to be kind of the bruiser in this match. I don't even think he's playing slappers at all. So literally just the most versatility you could ever run. And that's going to make him very durable during these midfield exchanges. And Brain should be able to top him off at least until deeper in dampening. I feel like for the Charlotte Phoenix, it's unlikely they close out the game, especially with how reluctant they are to push in and get crowd control. I don't think their damage is going to be significant enough to actually take down Ceralium or Drake. As I say that, Ceralium's taking quite a bit of burst of damage, but Brain tops him off. And I don't know. I don't know who dampening favors in this matchup. I think if Charlotte Phoenix are playing this kind of way where they're forcing M2KC back and they bring it later into dampening, I think M2KC is actually going to be able to take full advantage of that with the way Ceralium's playing.
I mean, his damage is very threatening. It looks a lot better so far than the greater pyro attempts we saw from Sam. Korlik and a Paralyzer going for a push here on Burn. Nice leg sweep, Drestigat drop, Whirling Dragon Punch. But not enough damage to force too much from Korlik. No sacrifice or unending resolve. Good attempt nonetheless here. I would like to see Drake maybe switch to Jamili. Jamili's playing way too close to Brain at this point, and Drake's overextended. Trying to roll back to his team here, getting intercepted by Fierce. Surround gets hit hard, but he temporals most of the damage, recovering for now. And so if Drake doesn't have Drestigath or Touch of Death, I feel like pushing to the wizard that's further away is not a good idea. Right now, Jamili went pretty far back, and Drake got blasted, so he's going to port away, try and recover. Let Ceralium do some work with those fireballs. He's reset his combustion. Or are they going to go with that? Go after Jamili, go after Burn? I mean, they ended up killing Burn last game in a surprise fashion, but I feel like Jamili maybe before dampening is a bit better of a target. He's standing in a tough spot. I love Jamili just goes as far back as possible, and then Drake gets overextended like this. Brain sits down for a drink, making sure that his mana is A-OK deep into dampening, as it is Mage Lock on Astra Main's Fall. It's likely where we're going. I like the positioning from Jamili and Burn right now. Jamili at the bottom of your screen, really far away from the pillar on the outside, and Burn on the opposite end of that. I feel like Drake should be going after Jamili in this position, as he's further away from Korlik, but they are going after Burn, popping the Storm, Earth, and Fire. Trying to get some pressure. Burn ports back. Drake switches to Jamili. Good positioning there. Jamili likely to pull back to center left, and he does immediately. Now Drake rolls up to Burn. Brain and Surround need to decide. Are they going to push forward, leave the Pillar's defense? It's going to be tough. I mean, this map is definitely working out a lot better for Charlotte Phoenix in terms of exposing their targets.
Yeah, and we're going to see Serranium in a fear right now, trying to get back to the good graces of that pillar. Once again, triangle formation initiated by Charlotte Phoenix. Drake's going to push out. Burn is the target of choice right now, and Burn is taking quite a lot of damage from that Fire Mage, ironically. We're going to see if they can get some paralyze here on the Corlick. It looks like Drake is moving up for it. There it is, paralyzed on the Corlick. Fist of Fury gets feared right away. Combustion gets ripped out. And this setup, I don't think is going to net them really anything unless Corlick makes a big mistake and gets locked or something. But no, Jamili is the one who soaks up the counterspell there on a poly. He blinks the Dragon's Breath, gets a nice sheep here as a result of it. Let's see if Burn can follow up. 1 Chaos Ball, 2 Chaos Ball, any fears from Burn? It doesn't look like it. Nice sheep by Serralium. Nice leg sweep there by Drake, and that's going to break up the chain. No, they do get another sheep here. Jamili, 1 final sheep, but again, shut down on that Shadow School from Burn, on that Shadow Fury, which is the same tree as Fear. So if you kick a Shadow Fury, you will not be able to use that Fear as well, which means Drake is going to, Brain is going to break out of crowd control. Drake is going to trade out his Ford Brew right here. Big push coming in. Brain in a full Fear. Who's going to fall first? Drake trades out the Karma. Whoa. Gets ice blocked. They had 2 Blessing of Protection and an Ineffable Pal on their team, but Jamili, trying to play like it was game 1, shoving those ice blocks early on. And we'll see if they can punish that. He's on hypothermia right now. Let's see. Combustion gets ripped out. Jamili's taking massive damage right there, but a big heal, and that sacrifice from Corlick is going to save the day.
Yeah, sacrifice, really good cooldown for saving the day. Jamili's going to be able to survive. It was a big push. I think there's a Drestigath from Drake as well. And now, Drake, he's not going to be feeling too confident for a little bit with no Transcendence. Diffuse Magic's back up, but probably going to be wanting to play a little bit safe. Ooh, nice little interrupt there, but Serralium with his positioning, I feel like it's unlikely. He does go down. Infernals get dropped down. Burn gets interrupted. Nice counterspell there by Serralium. You get a full polymorph. It gets singed off immediately. And it looks like they are going to be going after Jamili. Can they get that second ice block? Temporal Shield will be used. This is the Touch of Death as well. Corlick uses his Trinket and the Blessing of Protection to remove Touch of Death, but Drake's going to be happy with that. 1 less Blessing of Protection he's going to have to deal with his Karma, with his Touch of Death in the future. And M2KC, they're happy with that trade. They're just going to be pulling back to the pillar, getting a little bit of a reset, buying a little bit of time for Drake to get that Karma back up, which now is just a few seconds away.
Whoa.
Now they're making a big push on Jamili. They get the second ice block, and M2KC, they are on fire.
I think Corlick was trying to go for a drink at the back of the room, and Serralium's like, no way, I'm drinking it. I'm blinking in. Combustion popped, guns blazing, gets a block. I mean, down 2 blocks, 7.5 minutes in, you're ahead on mana. You have all of your defensive cooldowns. This is a great position for M2KC right now in the matchup. They do pin Serralium in midfield. They're trying to punish him, but immediately recovering with that temporal. Brain in a full fear, perhaps not completely if he isn't able to get out of the line of sight. Burn going toe-to-toe. Serralium blinks on top of him. Dragon's Breath is cast. Gets shut down on the poly by Jamili. Jamili blinks in to follow up with Burn for some damage. Serralium slowly but surely trying to get back to the pillar. Lining up some fireballs, resetting that combustion. Going to be off cooldown. And just a couple more fireballs at this point. Avenging Wrath about to fade for Corlick. No ice blocks for Jamili. Corlick needs to get ready. He's got Divine Shield. He's got Sacrifice. He may need to trade that if he gets in position for a Paralyze from Drake. Corlick needs to stay far away from Drake. If he gets a free Paralyze here, it could be very dangerous, potentially even the game. Jamili's just down to half. Oh, Corlick gets Ring of Peace on his cast. Really trying to catch him off guard there, but now Burn secures a fear. Corlick charging in. Where's the hammer from Corlick? Looking to find a target. Goes after Drake. Immediately removed there. Not going to get any value. Drake hitting the closest wizard, being burned. Burn ports back. Drake probably going to switch to Jamili if he can switch to anybody at the moment. Going back to Jamili. Serralium pops the combustion during that push, but Avenging Wrath up for Corlick. He heals through it easily. Nice port by Drake, porting away from the Frozen Orb. Getting out of that massive cooldown from Jamili. Nice reaction. M2KC with just an all-around solid performance so far.
Yeah, and we're going to see Burn in a Hammer of Justice. I think he singed it off of himself. And I wonder if you can counterspell the Imp. I'm pretty sure if the Imp is casting. So if you counterspell the Imp, you lock it on fire. And I think Singe Magic is actually fire. So I don't know if you want to get really creative. Maybe you can kick it and go for a sheep. But We're going to see Shirayam is not really about those sheeps. He's just going to sit back, pump out those fireballs, stack up that gushing. Jamili is going to have two ice blocks rotating back up in about a minute and a half from now. So if he can hold on a little bit longer, it's going to be good. Shirayam taking a lot of damage here. He gets counterspelled on Arcane. He can't blink to the pillar. Brain was in a fear, but he does break out. Avenging Wrath comes through, and Brain is going to be able to keep his teammates completely safe. Burn porting back to the good graces of the pillar, and now Shirayam feeling a little bit more confident here to just push up in the match and go for a little bit more damage here. And he's just trying to reset that fireball, reset that combustion. Every single time he fireballs, you can see his combustion cooldowns go down by 5 seconds, and if he does it enough times, well, you can maybe get a combustion before Cordic has his sacrifice back up, and they can force some massive cooldowns that way. But right now, Brain sheeped up. Shirayam kind of low. Drake as well, taking a little bit of damage. Brain actually getting feared now by Burn, and now Burn getting sheeped here to try to stop the setup, but he was able to connect that Vitality Conduit, which means that everybody on M2KC is going to be fine, and Brain has his wings as well back, so M2KC not in a bad spot, and this is about the point in the game where Burn is a really exposed target.
Yeah, I mean, definitely Drake's running that Tiger Eye brew. He's going to be able to pierce through a lot of the armor the Destruction Warlock has. Full Hammer of Justice onto Drake. Not a bad setup here. Brain healing through it, not using his Avenging Wrath. Now finally, and that should be able to top off Drake if he can get a big Divine Favor heal. Big burst of damage onto Burn. Paralyzed onto Core, like immediate Trinket Sacrifice. And I mean, you can just tell by the way M2KC is playing this, they're not even going for crowd control. They're literally getting Trinket, Sacrifice off the back of just a 4-second Paralyze from Drake. And that's what makes this composition so scary. It is very explosive. Jamili now pushing in. Shirayam and Drake trying to punish him and force him back. But with 2 ice blocks, Jamili's feeling pretty confident here to start to get some crowd control rolling, because I don't know, I just feel like as dampening gets higher and higher, it's definitely a double-edged sword. It's going to allow Charlotte Phoenix poke damage to start adding up, that Blizzard, that Frozen Orb, but at the same time, I don't know if Corlic's going to be able to handle the pressure Drake and Shirayam are putting out.
His mana is definitely saying it's not. I mean, he's massively behind that of Brain at this point. Cooldowns also fairly behind. Dark Soul Infernal available, though, for Burn. He's going to need to make something happen with that. Touch of Death going to get bopped off right before the Dragon's Breath. Nice timing by Corlic, but the Polymorph is secured with the Frost Nova. They win the 50-50 on the Dispel. This could be a big opportunity to push for a block on Jamili. Combustion gets popped here. Power play. Tressagat drops. How are they going to trade Divine Favor? Corlic trying to recover without using an ice block here. They managed to stabilize. Drake has to give up the push. Shirayam's trying to abandon the push as well. Making it back to his team. Jamili on the left, Burn on the right, looking to pincer in on M2KC. Drake, now the bruiser of the team, full versatility, charges out. Tries to be the kind of the meat shield for the team. Tank a lot of damage with all that versatility, charging right on top of Burn. Paralyzed, big push once again here by M2KC. Can they topple Burn? They are so close, but not enough damage. Avenging Wrath, big heals coming in. Drake trades Fort Brew to just stay on target. Maybe dampening is really starting to make it difficult for Corlic here. Drake is not retreating. Shirayam out in midfield. They stop the poly on Brain. They're still just going all out on Burn. Burn down in half. I mean, Corlic's going to use all of his mana to heal through this damage if he keeps having to spam heal. Jamili's getting soloed by Shirayam in midfield. Corlic now has to heal 2 targets with no Avenging Wrath. I don't think he's got the throughput to do it. They're getting overwhelmed. Block from Jamili. Burn could fall. Oh, they're overlapping every single cooldown. The only thing going for Corlic right now, Ineffable Truth just procced, and his Avenging Wrath that ended like 5 seconds ago, it's 5 seconds away from happening again. He just needs to make it to that point. Will he be able to? Now 10 seconds away. Jamili's Temporal about to go off, and this is insane pressure. Plays, defense, just all around. M2KC know exactly what to do at every second of this game. And they're just toying with Charlotte Phoenix at this point. Burn could topple. Avenging Wrath rolling. Big heals from Corlic. Now Jamili gets chomped. He blinks back in to Corlic's side. He's trying to recover the team at 50% dampening, but it's such a tall order. Divine Favor heal. Jamili's recovered. Burn is still falling behind. Meteor comes in from Shirayam. He's going to reset that combustion and one more fireball. He's got combustion, and this combustion could win the game.
We're going to see if they can do it. Right now, Shirayam pops it. Jamili, what are you going to do? Touch of Death is active. So much damage about to explode. He's going to use that ice block right immediately. And we're going to see Burn now on the back foot. Drake's all over him. And right now, he's going to roll back to Jamili as he exits the ice block. There's the leg sweep. Big damage. Shirayam still just lobbing out these fireballs, just staying at max range, staying on full HP. Corlic has 0 mana left, 0 cooldowns left outside of that Divine Shield. But with no Avenging Wrath to power through with Divine Shield. I'm not sure if he can do it. He pre-vitalities the poly. They get a poly onto Brain. They need to make something happen with this. Drake gets hammered. He trinkets out of it, but it's Jamili on the back foot. Ceralium all over him, and I don't know how long Charlotte Phoenix are going to be able to hold on. Their healer is completely tapped at this point, man.
5 seconds on combustion, and that might be the last explosive punch that M2KC does need. Charlotte Phoenix completely out of mana, completely out of cooldowns, and this game is not going in their favor whatsoever. Jamili taking a huge hit once again. Divine Shield sacrificed the last line of defense from Corlick to keep Jamili alive. That was a combustion. That was a meteor. Icy Veins by Jamili. He really wants to turn around this pressure, but there is just no openings. Ceralium has his Ice Block. Brain has every defensive cooldown, and Charlotte Phoenix are slowly but surely unraveling in this match. Paralyzed now onto Corlick. Jamili still in the midfield, eating a Fist of Fury, but Ceralium gets feared away. Good defensive plays here, but Corlick gets sniped and taken down, and Corlick did everything he could to keep his team alive, but M2KC, once again, I mean, that game took a lot longer than game number 1, but still, there was basically no scary moments in the match for them. They just looked like they were completely comfortable and completely dominated that game number 2.
Yeah, and I mean, at this point, Corlick has no mana left. Dampening is so high. Anybody just even taking a point of damage is pretty much GG. You see Jamili here is getting blasted. Ceralium in a fear right now. Jamili is trying to soak up some hits with the temp, but Corlick just dying to basically instant pyros there at the back end of that from Ceralium as soon as he comes out of that fear. And I mean, at this point, no one really made like an insane play to like end the match, but I think the big story is, you know, how consistently M2KC played to even get to this point. And if we don't see a Rogue Mage Pally, a Rogue Lock Pally, or a Windwalker, I don't think we're going to see a Windwalker Mage, but I think if we don't see a Rogue Mage Pally in this next game, then I think we're going to be seeing Charlotte Phoenix in the lower bracket.
Yeah, I mean, any guess as to why they decided to continue to lock in Mage Lock on game number 2 here?
I don't know. I guess they saw the previous match and they thought that they were as good as C9, or that I really don't know. Like on paper, when you do get to dampening, you should be in a pretty good spot. But I feel like this is a matchup that Windwalker Mage is actually kind of okay with. We've seen a lot. Like I feel like Windwalker in general is pretty good into Destro Lock, especially late in dampening.
All right, well, I mean, now M2KC here on match point. Charlotte Phoenix struggling a little bit in this series. Charlotte Phoenix, if you look at the history of how they've been playing in the circuit, they are the team that 3-0'd Cloud9. They had an incredible season. This is an amazing team of individuals as a team as well, and now we're seeing them potentially getting knocked down here in the lower bracket in the NA finals. And I don't know, do you think that they're going to stick with Mage Lock Subatees, or what are they thinking here?
No way. I mean, there's no way. They're going to probably do, I think, small map and Rogue Mage Pally, I think, would be my guess. Rogue Mage Paladin on hook point. After that, then they probably blind lock Mage, Windwalker, Paladin, I think, for the rest of the series. But this next game, I'm imagining they're going to go hook point. That game, they just got completely owned. Like, there's no doubt in my mind. Like, there was no way they were going to win that game. And they got to 61% dampening on their best map, and there's no way they were going to win it. No, they would be throwing, I think, to keep trying this. So I think their next step is going to be Rogue Mage Paladin.
And if they do decide to lock that in, any guesses on map choice here, Zico?
I think Dalaran Sewers. I think that's where they're going to get flushed.
Dalaran Sewers. What about you, Subatees?
Wouldn't they have already been flushed? If they're in the sewer. In your pun. Oh, hook point, Rogue Mage. I get a point.
That went right.
Yep.
That went right over my head. You get a point.
Yeah. Charlotte Phoenix, Jamili got cold feet, and now he's going to be playing Fire Rogue Mage Paladin on hook point. And I mean, this is a matchup Charlotte Phoenix has won before. The last time they played this out, they didn't. Well, thank you, Zico. Appreciate that very much. I was waiting for that one. Thought about it in the last game, and I'm super stoked that I was able to bust it out. But
I get it. Jeez. That took me a second. That was good. That was a good one. That was a delayed reaction from me, but I like it.
It's okay.
Sorry.
No, it's okay.
Continue,
you know,
continue.
I don't often crack jokes, so when I do, it's like it comes as a bit of a surprise, you know. But yeah, this
That's
is
what it is.
yeah. Well, interestingly enough, Charlotte Phoenix actually beat M2KC the last time they played out this matchup, but I think they lost confidence after they got completely owned by Mystery Org running M2KC's composition. So I think that kind of shook their confidence a little bit, but I'm happy to see that Charlotte Phoenix, they're just going to be sticking to their guns, the Rogue Mage Paladin, and they're just going to try to put their best foot forward and see what they can get done. But backs against the wall, they are one game away from being knocked down to the lower bracket and having to play against Mystery Org once again.
Do we feel like this is their best option though, out of their composition pool, and with this map here? Is this probably the best thing in your mind, Ven, that they could have run?
I mean,
I know you
I really wanted to see
the mirror. You want to see the mirror.
Well, yeah, I think mirror is their best option, but they obviously, I mean, Nick, I would say Rogue is probably his main, or Rogue is his main. Although he plays tons of classes at really high level, it's like it doesn't really do him justice to be like, oh yeah, Windwalker's is alt, you know, or Warriors is alt, because he does play them and, you know, he's extremely good at them. So I feel like they could play the mirror match and do okay, but they're opting to go with the Rogue Mage Paladin, maybe have a little bit more experience with this composition in this matchup, and just hope it goes their way. I mean, it's not a matchup that's impossible to win, for sure. I mean, they definitely can, but I don't think it's completely in their favor. I would say it's probably one of those matchups that's like a 60-40 for the Windwalker Mage Paladin, but we'll see what the Charlotte Phoenix can get done.
We soon shall see. Charlotte Phoenix, real high pressure situation for them here. If they lose this game, they are knocked down to the lower bracket. We will see if RM Palette is the right choice for them. M2KC 2-0 versus Charlotte Phoenix.
I'm not going to say it because I don't want to jinx Brain. I'm not saying it. All right, here we go. One of the main strategies for Rogue Mage, obviously, is to kill the healer. So let's see if this map's going to work out for Charlotte Phoenix. Nick and Stealth sneaking his way towards Brain. Jamili as well. Looking for the tag team. Who's going to open? Not finding a sap just yet. Patiently waiting. Perhaps they got combat. Looks like they're trading combat with Dispel. Dragonsmith on Cerealium, blind on Brain. They're going after the Windwalker. Drake pre-walled. A blind from Stealth. Insane play from Drake. Brain's trying to sit the remainder of the crowd control, but that forward permit's got so much value. Now Corlick and Apolly blinding light. They're swapping back over to Nick. This might be good night on match point. Where's the damage? Now they switch back over to Jamili, really trying to mix it up and keep Charlotte Phoenix on their toes. Jamili down to half. Drake and a Frost Nova breaks out, connects some big damage. Corlick trinkets. Trinket out of the way without a sacrifice. A bit odd for the Paladin not to pair those cooldowns together. That could be an opening. Brain and a Hammer of Justice. Jamili blinks back. Are they going to get a poly? They're getting shut down. Double blind by Corlick, but Drake's already kited so far away. Double ring. It's 3 versus 1. Drake ports right back to his team right when Nick got there. Nick's in stealth. He just guessed that he was there, but they ultimately do reconnect. Big damage. Edge smoke bomb by Nick. Nice attempt there, but Brain's out of crowd control. Drake looks like he's stabilizing. Now Jamili needs to play defense.
Drake with excellent defense so far this game. You can tell this man still got it. And now he's looking to get aggressive here onto Jamili. Moving forward here. Let's see. Does he have the leg sweep? It's coming up in about 2 seconds. He wants to get it onto Nick. And here we go. I think he's, no, he's going to wait a little bit for that CC to come off cooldown. Brain didn't have his Hammer of Justice just yet, but they are setting up onto the Rogue. There's the disarm onto Nick. Nick knows what's about to happen. He's going to try to pre-feint it, but we'll try to pre-evasion maybe. Maybe they're going after Jamili. No, there it is. Hammer of Justice, Combustion, Trinket, Cloak of Shadows immediately here by Nick. Excellent push here coming out of M2KC. Now it's Charlotte Phoenix's turn. What are they going to do? Corlick looking for the hammer. Pre-Vitality Conduit. Jamili looking for the sheep. Sheep's up Drake. Swaps it over to Brain. Where is the damage though? Cerealium right now looking kind of okay still. Nick going for the resap here into the Garrote Silence. Into the Garrote onto the healer. Any more CC and that's going to be a block. But nope. They do bop out of the blind. Still weird that Brain didn't use his sacrifice in any of this exchange, but he actually does come out. ahead on that trade. He just bops very, very late right there and then keeps his mage alive, still has his sacrifice for the next sheep attempt. And now he's going in to push CC here to get a full blind into Ring of Frost onto Corlic. Nixon a leg sweep, big damage coming out, and that is going to be the Divine Shield sacrifice coming out of Corlic. And right now, M2KC are looking charged up.
Yeah, they're going after Brain, but a beautiful grapple weapon from Drake completely shuts down Nick, and now he actually commits his Vanish offensively. A little bit of a scary decision there. I mean, Brain appears to be quite healthy. Divine Favor, Holy Light, and now Nick is just one Vanish down, which is a very important defensive cooldown. He's got no Trinket, no Cloak of Shadows, and no Vanish. So if he gets caught in a stun, it's going to be up to Corlic to keep him alive. Hammer of Justice, big damage from Cerulean. This is the combustion as well. Dragon's Breath onto Corlic, but maybe Nick will be able to survive. He gets the feint, he gets the evasion. Polymorph onto Corlic, he does have the trinket, and he manages to connect the Vitality Conduit without having to use anything else. And I would say for Charlotte Phoenix, that's definitely a win in their book. Now, Kidney Shot onto Cerulean as they're looking to go after a new target. Drake actually pre-fortifying Brood once again before going into a full Polymorph. Brain still in crowd control. Double Blinding Light comes in, and they might be able to get the Ice Block. Nicely done here by the Charlotte Phoenix. They're trying to turn around this series and put a point on the board, and they're making a case for themselves so far in this game.
Oh, double blind. Nick's in trouble. Huge hit. Trinket Cloak. Drake's still just hammering down. Fist of Fury. Corlic's in a full poly on his Avenging Wrath. This is devastating for Charlotte Phoenix on match point. Touch of Death about to go off. Where's the bop? He's stuck in a stun. Not able to... He gets the bop off right at the last second, taking that Touch of Death away off from Nick. Nick needs to get something going, but where do you go? You got a Divine Shield Paladin, an Ice Block Mage, and a Karma Diffuse Magic Monk. There's no openings for this Vendetta. They've got Blind at least. That might get Divine Shield out of the way. They need to think about pulling the trigger on it ASAP because Nick's got no Trinket, no Vision, and no Cloak, and Combustion's available for Cerulean. He could just close this series out if they get a clean setup here onto Nick, and Nick knows it. He's running away, trying to maybe potentially find a restyle. Drake's in crowd, so there's the blind play. How are they going to deal with it? Is it going to be a Divine Shield sacrifice? Cerulean pre-temporals the kidney, heals himself to full, but the crowd control is endless. Jamila gets a poly. They're still gunning after Cerulean, but I don't know if they've got the damage to do it here. Cerulean survives, Brains out of crowd control, and now Nick and Corlic, they've got to be afraid. Any crowd control engaged here could be lights out. Are they going to blink in for it? They do. Pre-sacrifice. Nice play, but they're swapping to Corlic with no Divine Shield. Big hit over to Corlic. Divine Protection, Vitality Conduit. Corlic doesn't panic and recovers through the swap. That was a nice play by Corlic on Charlotte Phoenix. Now Cerulean on the back foot, Brain in a poly, but no damage to be found here. More polymorphs incoming. Corlic in position. Hammers down. Cerulean at half. Interrupted by Nick. Jamili connects. Blinding Light follow-up. Nice setup by Charlotte Phoenix. Gunning for the Cauterize. Denied, though, by Cerulean. Brains out of crowd control. Holy Avenger. Vitality Conduit. Big recovery. Cerulean holds strong. Once again, still no Gliders Medallion on Nick. The hammers are down. Big hit here. Blinding Light on the Corlic. He trinkets. He's got Avenging Wrath, but it's so much damage. Feint on 30%. Corlic powers through with the Divine Favor. Nick's back in the fight. And these teams continue to go toe-to-toe.
Beautiful stuff here coming out of M2KC. That setup forced out Corlic's Trinket, but he does have his bubble coming back up. Sacrifice in about a minute. Cerulean is the one in trouble right now in a kidney shot, taking hell of damage. And we're going to see Cerulean finally breaking up that CC. Actually, Drake breaking up that CC chain with that leg sweep. And that's going to allow Brain to finally get some time to heal up his mage. Jamili counterspell there on Arcane, but Cerulean now getting Shadow Step kick. He's trying to rip out the combustion. Big damage here onto Nick. Touch of Death is rolling as well, but Nick very slippery on that rogue, trying to get away with that kiting maneuver. Corlic is out of CC now, so he's going to be able to keep him alive. And Nick looking to get aggressive on the mage, but he's still quite low there. Finally, big Divine Favor is going to connect. And now Drake looking to turn his pressure here over onto Jamili and Corlic, just cleaving them a little bit behind the pillar. Brain is in a full shape. There's the grapple weapon. There's the counter spell. Jamili, if he has a Ring of Frost, he can keep the chain going. Doesn't look like it. Corlic gets intercepted now, and Jamili is the one on the back foot. This could be an ice block. If they have follow-up CC, they get the blind here, but they need more. Jamili's super low here. Can they get something? Brain gets the hammer down onto Corlic. No trinket. It's either going to be a Divine Shield or an ice block, but doesn't look like Drake is going to be able to connect here. And he gets the proc with that big dress connect, but that's going to be all they bang at the end of that CC chain. Corlic's going to recover his teammates. Still a very nice push here once again by M2KC.
Yeah, really nicely done. Really trinkets out of that. 15% dampening at this point of the game. Drake getting a huge hit with that Drestagath. Jamili no longer has his cheat death, and now a full polymorph secured onto Korlik. Jamili's going to be in a little bit of trouble. Still no temporal shield, a big blazing barrier. He drags Drake out of line of sight, going for a Dragon's Breath Sheep, but he gets Spear Hand striked. And now Jamili, it might be the ice block. And right now, M2KC, they're pulling ahead in this matchup. I mean, Korlik, he still has his Trinket Sacrifice, Divine Shield, but Jamili with no cooldowns left. I mean, Korlik gets interrupted. They might be able to just close it out now. That interrupt from Cerulean was massive. I mean, he had so many cooldowns to work with, but a clutch counterspell negates all of them. And M2KC with a quick 3-0.
Coming down to the lower bracket, M2KC moving forward here in the upper bracket, and now what do we feel like that last game looked like? Was that any closer, Ben?
I mean, it seemed a lot more convincing to me. It seemed like they're a lot more experienced in this matchup. I would say that's the main thing. The Rogue Mage Paladin just seemed like they were kind of firing on all cylinders. Their setups looked clean. They had moments of opportunities to actually burst and win, but I mean, that's what happens when you lock in this composition at the last second. All of a sudden, if you just lose one game,